What's up everyone, it's Crispy here and a brand new Honkai Star Rail tier list just dropped. You have got to check this out. Here we are on pridewind.gg's official Honkai Star Rail site. We're checking out the HSR tier list. It was last updated 5/9/2024. Very recent. It is 5/15 today. We're gonna get into some spicy things. I haven't checked this out completely. I just went on one day and was like, oh yeah, this layout and stuff has changed. I need to make a video on this. So first off, in these big red box, it says the tier list has been fully revamped and to learn more about what changed, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, first and foremost, which they give a disclaimer. I know my head's in the way right here. There you go. Please keep in mind that an HSR is a game where team building matters most. And while our tier list takes the optimal setup into account, a lot of characters can work and do well. So basically what this is saying, it's a disclaimer. It's saying team building is what matters. A character might be in C or B tier, but when it's paired with certain characters, it might up it to A tier or whatever. It's all about team building, it really is. So playing your favorites as well as optimizing their synergy is what really matters. These last three are what are really important. Categories and tags. The categories were damage dealer, specialist, amplifier, and sustain. So it's like buffers, healers, DPS, and then specialist characters like Kafka. Now we have some special tags, some pros and cons and stuff. We've got what type of character they actually are. A break character, a debuffer, follow-up attack, really good. For people that were looking at a tier list and they didn't really understand the character, because I know there are some people that play strict meta. Like, I will only pull on meta characters. I don't want to struggle with content. All right, brother, play how you want to play. No judgment there. This will help identify those. What I really like down here, SP plus, skill point positive, or skill point negative. This helps give another criteria to maybe why characters were placed where they are in the tier list. If a character is extremely skill point negative and you can't really build a team around them to support that, let's say you don't have Sparkle or someone, they might be lower on the tier list, your personal tier list at that point, because it would be your team counts, blah, blah, blah. Assuming you had certain characters, that's a separate issue. But yeah, I like the criteria that they have going on here. Ratings and meta line. Everyone was saying when Acheron got released, they needed, I know Gotcha Smack and Tectone, I heard them mention, there's like a god tier. Acheron is really in a tier of her own. She should not be paired up with Dan Heng, Il, and those other characters, because if you see something like that, you're like, oh, all these characters are in S tier, they're kind of the same. Nah, not the case. Acheron towers above all of the DPS. Excuse me. And yeah, this kind of defines them as Apex, I almost said Predator. Apex characters, tier 0 and 0.5. Meta, tier 1, 1.5, and 2. Still meta. That really hasn't changed. Niche, tier 3 and 4. Not saying they're bad, not saying they're good, saying that they have their uses in very particular instances. The forgotten ones, the struggle bracket, they state that a lot. Either the kits simply don't work, or they require a ton of investment. It's not even really worth it. Criteria, which is what I was talking about earlier. Roles, manual play, all this stuff. It can be based on Eidolon level, and all this traces. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Come on, scroll down here. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that the tiers are broken up into two different ones based on Memory of Chaos, how they work in that game mode and how they work on Pure Fiction, which is basically an AoE follow-up centered game mode. It's all about waves and clearing the waves as soon as you possibly can. So follow-up characters arrive, hence why Herta is up here, and she is a 4-star unit that you can basically E6 for almost free. let's start with the Memory of Chaos and go into the new criteria and all these new goodies that we have. So first and foremost, we're gonna start with tier 0, the Apex Predator characters. I'm gonna call it that. That sounds pretty cool. Acheron. Like I was stating earlier, she is above all other DPS, which is in this left column right here. No one, I repeat, no one compares with her except maybe Jing Liu, but she's still below. Like, no competition. Acheron, my girl, tier 0. It states she's Nihility Lightning, then we already had that. Let's see. It just has debuff right here. It doesn't say skill point positive or negative because it doesn't really matter. You do always want to use her skill, but that's only 1 point. They're not positive or negative in regards if they're only using 1 point. If they're not using any, then they're super positive. If they're using like 3, like Dan Heng IL is, then they're gonna be negative. Leading into that, let's go down here. Tier 0.5, you have the SP negative, extremely, on him in the DPS role. Ooh, and it also shows you what tier they are in Pure Fiction. You see how it has on the left MOC, and then tier 3 PF, so you don't have to keep switching. You can have the actual defined pictures right here, the visual, but then over here you can just go through here and be like, oh, okay. So that's really cool. You don't have to keep whipping and swapping when you want to check it out. You just want to see a certain character and how they pertain to each game mode. That's awesome. That's a great quality of life. Pride when you're killing it. Yeah. Jing Liu, skill point positive. Let's go over here. Nihility doesn't really have an Apex character yet. Kafka and Black Swan are definitely the apex of them. Well, not apex, but the tier 1, the meta right now. And well, actually they are the apex category, so I take that all back. Never mind. The new Harmony Trailblazer, I still have yet to play the campaign. I've been so busy. The story, I'm sorry. I'll get there eventually. I might even stream it. I'm thinking about streaming on Twitch. I always go back and forth between Twitch and YouTube, so yeah, we'll have to see about that. But meta characters right here. Ratio, meta and DPS, a follow-up character. You see right here, debuff and follow-up attack oriented. The same with Topaz. Harmony Trailblazer, break, buff, and delay. Those are 3 really good things. It shows you their utility now too, which is really, really, really good. So instead of just seeing what tier they're on and just seeing amplifier, okay, cool, they buff characters. Ting Yun doesn't just buff characters. She gives them energy for their ults as well, which is another great thing to do. Hence why she's a meta in tier 1. You got Luocha over here, who everyone's been hating on recently for I don't know why. Dude is meta in Pure Fiction and MOC. He's a great support, great sustainer. Recommend him. His banner just passed with Acheron, so he probably won't be coming up anytime soon. Whoa, I think she's getting a rerun, and I might try to pull for her so I can not have 2 4-star healers. I need a 5-star. Plus, she gives you energy regen right here and buffs. Really good. Fu Xuan buff. Now you have Aventurine, which is before Fu Xuan. Now I don't know if this is in alphabetical order from left to right, since it's A and then F, or if he is above her technically. But they're both in the same tier, so I would say it doesn't really matter. I'm pretty sure it's just alphabetical. Let's see, Topaz, Trailblazer, yeah, it's just alphabetical. But Aventurine does have other parts to his kit. He has debuff, follow-up attack, and is extremely SP positive. In my Acheron, Kafka, Aventurine, and what is her name? I'm blanking right now. Pela team. He's there for the shields, the survivability, the sustain, and that's literally it. Well, plus some follow-ups here and there. But he almost never uses his skill. The only time he uses his skill is if I'm in stupid-ass Swarm or Golden Gears. God, I hate those game modes. They're not even fun. It just takes like an hour of my life. And we get hit with an insanely heavy attack, and he needs to proc the shield immediately, then I'll use his skill. But I'm really enjoying this new format of the tier list. Let's go down to niche characters. Argenti, I would say, is niche for his extreme pure fiction viability and ultimate spam. He's someone that needs to be paired with like a Ho Ho or some or like a Tingyun. I can keep building his ultimate because he has some weird mechanic where he can actually stack his ultimate twice and then it does like another attack. Like it's like 2 ultimates in one basically. I actually just figured that out in Tides of War, which is so fun, by the way. Hoyoverse, bring that shit back. Tides of War was bussin'. Damn. Yeah. Tier 3, Tier 3, basically mid, niche. All of these have their situations where they thrive. Pela, Hurt, I mean, thrives in AoE team comps, where she can follow up a lot. As you can see, she is Apex in Pure Fiction at E0 and E6. So when you have her E6, shoo, boy, you killing it. You have Himiko, which is a Pure Fiction follow-up character. AoE damage reigns supreme in Pure Fiction. You have Arlen in the Forgotten Ones and Trailblazer Physical, which is basically worthless at this point. Let's see. I was hoping, not hoping, but I was expecting to see Yang Qing in the Forgotten Ones, but he's actually way better than these two. So I do agree with not pairing all these guys up in the same tier because there are significant differences. Even Natasha's like way better than these two because she can just give you some sort of heals. Advance break. I'm really digging this new criteria and this new setup that Pride One is doing with their tier list. They've upped that level, they've upped it. And once again, as a disclaimer, tier lists are applied to certain situations. And if a character is Apex, or meta, whatever you want to call it. This Apex is a new term, and I think it's freaking dope. It makes them sound crazy as hell. Characters can still be used in regards to team compositions. It's all about having fun. Sure, Apex in meta does give you a huge quality of life and makes content a lot easier, but it's all about personal preference at the end of the day and having fun. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Peace.